Hello everybody, hope you're having another blessed day. In today's video I'm going to be showcasing for you guys my new and improved fire gear for level 160. Now I did say previously in that pet video I will be showcasing my new kind of gear setup as I finished Novus. I think I was calling it Nomeria or something. Yeah, that's how much I pay attention to this world, because yeah, I got back into this game like a week ago. I got done this world in like a day, and I still don't even know the plot of the world. I think everyone hates me now. I think that's what I got the gist of it. I don't know why, don't know how, but I'm just gonna roll with it. Now, before I go into my whole kind of gear setup, I'm gonna keep you with the mindset of what I personally make for my fire wizard. May not be what you make for your fire wizard, or a lot of the other wizards in general. Main being, I primarily play as a solo player. All right, mainly being that for this world I basically sold roughly around 90 to 95% of the world. If this maybe a handful of bosses, of course the final dungeon I teamed up with a random group. All right, main being that's just personally how I play, because you look at my friend list here, it's kind of bare because a lot of people I used to play with just don't play anymore. So yeah, you're looking for people to play with, just hit me up. So yeah, so I have more focus on resist, because of course more resist, more health, as you can see that what you typically have as a hidden skull means you can last longer on your own and won't just die as a glass cannon. All right, so with that in mind, let's get into the setup. Now first thing you're going to see before we click into there, it's going to be nice and crispy 10k. all right, 10k health on the fire. Now if you're playing as, I think, a glass cannon or more primary hidden skull, I think you get to around 97, 9800 at best, I believe. All right, so we pushed that definitely a couple more hundred up, because again I wanted more health. More health lasts longer. Now damage, all right, even though my health is higher, my resistance is going to be higher than you typically get for more hidden based setups. We still have over 200 damage. Now when I came to Novus, I still want to call it Nomeria, and that's definitely not the right place. I think in Nomeria. Alright, but Novus, alright, when I came here, I had, I think, a Merciless set, Dragoon set. I think I was on like 190, alright, which is still very respectable. I think that probably was most likely the best you can have at 150. But of course, you know, we found some improvements as we finished Novus and did a little bit of farming, quote unquote farming. Again, that is at the end. Alright, so at 204 damage, resist. Now, if you're doing a hidden base school, I think your resist will drop by about 17. All right, based off the pets you have, as I'll talk about later. All right, but I have 51 flat resist with 61 resist set to ice, which that 61, you can put that 10 resist to like anything you want. I just did it because there's a new thing called pins, which has actually took up majority of my farming time since I've been done going to again a day. All right, I think it took more time to farm for random pins than it did to actually get yeah, the regular gear. All right, and of course 32 accuracy for fire, so 100% accuracy, it's needed. If you don't have 30 accuracy on fire at this point in the game, you are concerning me. I'm sorry, if you've ever fizzled a bull without a mantle on you, I'm gonna ask you, do you need help? All right, because yeah, we don't do that anymore. All right, do better. Now you also see some other random stats are slightly added onto there. For example, like for 5 accuracy to death and balance would come from the pins I've added to my gear, which you can add pins to like your robe, boots, and hat now, which is like, okay, sure. Right, so if this boosted stats here, all right, one had the balance on there because it uses it for boosting the accuracy in case there was a mantle for elemental blades, elemental traps, etc. And the next one for the death ones is like feints, because you do need to still use feints as a solo player a lot of times. So I didn't use it as much as this one, because I noticed a lot of the bosses are kind of lower in health. All right, because they nerfed the heck out of them. I remember going to some of these like newer worlds after Chrysalis, they had like 20-30k health. Now they're like, oh, it's like 10-12. Definitely manageable as a solo wizard, especially the damage we have now. And then we have 178 myth damage, because I guess dual skulls is coming a thing now. And I think the one that matches up with fire is apparently myth. Some of our, like our wand or avum and ring already gives you myth damage. And now with pins, you can get a lot more damage. So yeah, that's the thing. Do I use it? No, I don't have a single myth hit in my goddamn deck. PvP, I think it's a thing, or something with troll and some other spells, but yeah. It's there, and maybe the next word that comes out maybe in December, Walrus, I think it's what it's called. I'm not sure, guys. I've been back for like a week after a year's absence, so I think that's a new world, and they may dive more into it with using your dual school more. All right, so crit 695, yeah, and then 140 myth crit. It doesn't really matter how crit works now. It's not like an accuracy thing, it's more just like a little bit blocked, I guess. Again, I don't know how it works. But man, as long as you have some form of crit, you're going to crit almost every time. Just like when I have like my my life set of like 40 life crit, my Jade healing set, I crit every freaking time. Even though it's like, oh, I have 40 crit. That's 100% crit for some reason. Who knows? Now, a cool thing, we have a lot of block. Yes, over 600 block, which is cool. I still barely block against a boss, so it's cool the number wise, but it doesn't really mean anything because block's dead. And then 30 pierce for myth, because again, these lovely little pins you can see right there. And then 50 pierce. Oof, I love that. One, you're like, oh, that pierces tower shields. Yeah, it does. 100% of a tower shield really get pierced. If you're farming Mirror Lake, that 90 shield that the dang second boss puts on, the little elephant thing, guess what? It goes to 40 shield. Barely manageable. It helps you guys actually kill in one turn instead of having to wait till to kill the Edor mini bosses until the shield go off. You can hit them this one turn once everyone has pierce like this. But the big thing though is that with 50 pierce now, I don't ever use prisms. I actually see some wizards from time to time will put it on a prism for their set boss, or they have a shield or something. Who cares if it's like a set shield 70-80%, yeah, it's going to do 20-30 resist by the time the pierce is done, which is not major at all. It seems like hitting with a weakness on. No one really cares, just one weakness. If it's a plague 45-50, yeah, but this kind of counters the whole reason. And then also, if it's just a flat out boss like a fire boss for me, for example, that has typically they only have about 65-70 resist nowadays. Okay, it's not gonna have 90-100 resist. And 65, or even like say 75, with the 50 pierce, there's only 25% resist, which again, it's just a universal weakness, which doesn't play a big deal, and you overall damage, as long as you blade up, you're still going to kill. Alright, so having 50 pierce is amazing. Alright, don't do any stun resist. I see some people get away from the flat resist, like I have here, with the extra flat, like 94 for myself. I like that because I'm a solo player, and the best you can do is 15 stun resist, which, yeah, I know my luck, I will get it 1 out of like 200 times. So I'm not going fickle with it, so I don't get mad. Pip conversion, who cares? 100% power pip. Yeah, 101. Where's the 101? Yeah, you know, I did intentionally. No. Alright, so yeah, gotta have 100% power pip in all your schools. If you don't, you are insane. And again, just like if you don't have 100% accuracy, I will have questions of concern for you. And then the only thing that really went down with this new gear is that they're moving away from Shadow Pip rating. Because I believe I was like 110, 120 at the start of this world, and I'm at 80 because a lot of the gear now doesn't give Shadow Pip rating. Alright, so I've noticed that a lot. I've actually moved away from using Raging Bull, and because it just doesn't get the Shadow Pip in time for the hit. So for like the boss battles, a lot of times I'll do like a Fire Dragon from Dragoon Amulet to take out the minion, do some decent damage, and then I'll follow up with like an Ifrit. I really like to use Ifrit in this world. A lot of times it's the one-on-one with the boss, and you put that 45% weakness on a boss, it gives you plenty of time to blade up for a second up hit, which a lot of time for me is like Brimstone, Horsnell Dragon. Alright, so that is the stats. Now let's go into the gear. Alright, so gear. A lot of what you're going to see is going to be this Prime Motor Aeon gear. Alright. Of course, there are those weird pins you get added into it, right? So there is the good the hat. This is here. Okay, this only time is going to change up from the Aeon stuff. We have the Fiery Nightmare Coat. Now, the Fiery Nightmare Coat here is not something you actually can get as a drop. It's from a Crown Shop item. All right, so let me pull up the packs real quick so I can show you which one. I believe it is the Nightmare Horde pack here. Actually drops really solid robes. I think it's actually probably the best robe you can actually get without being in a guild. Well, technically, there is a guild robe, I believe, or cloak, or you want to call it. I can't remember it's called, like, I can't remember it's called Fiery something, of normal or something. But it's better. Okay, it's better than this because one has higher stats, I think, made a little bit less resist, but it gets all the Shadow Pip rating, I believe. So, yeah, it's pretty good. But you have to be in a large, I think, guild and be able to do the raids and guilds, which for me, in case you haven't noticed here, let's take my little shoulder thing, my thing. I'm not in the guild, alright? At least I'm not anymore, alright? Maybe because when I got backed, the guild I was in never really got any better, and no one really is online, so I decided just to leave it, and I'll probably be looking for a new guild in the next week or two, alright? So we'll see what that turns out into. All right, so right now this is the best I can do. If I do get into guild, I'll try farm for that and get the slightly better stats. Again, may only go like a little bit, may higher, less health, maybe a little bit more block, more crit, a little bit more damage. Yeah, not gonna do major improvement, but technically would be the best stats. All right, and boots, back to it. Aeon boots, the Aeon sword, the Aeon Aether, which is a banana for some reason because this world is wonky, and again, that's kind of why it makes no sense to me at all. I don't know the theme. We still are going to stick with the Dragoon Avon. Amulet. And I've seen a lot of people kind of swap around with this. Some people try to go for more resist or more crit and pierce with the, what is it, Shane amulet, alright? Which you can use, sure. Alright, you can even go for the new, again, the Aeon one. He gives more health, a little bit more resist. But the thing you're going to miss out on is going to be that spell. Right, given those 2 Fire Dragon spells, one, it's better than any rank 4 spell you have in your deck. Alright, better than meters, does more damage, okay, and does the same damage as essentially like a 7-pit Fire Dragon. Minus the overtime, of course. Alright, so I think this is still the best one you can have. And with most schools, I think I still agree with it. I'll also still use your Dragoon Amulet for that 4-pip hit all spell, which is simply just broken. And then we do have, again, the Aeon Ring. Alright, and then I'll just hop down here to Aeon Deck. This one's important because typically you would want to use one that has a triangle socket, like I used the Demiurge, the one I collected when I was going for Merciless, and it's what I've been using for the longest time to the end of this world. And I was using at the end too, till I realized if I had enough stats, I had 111 power pips, I didn't need that 10 power pip anymore. But what I could do when I switch it over to here, if I could use this one here, one to get that extra crit, extra block. I could also get that 52 Arts Mastery shenanigan thing that doesn't really do anything really, except for that one, what's that thing's fight? What's that fight? Mana Core's Madness, you have to swap around your pips. Yeah, fun thing. Don't beat bounce, it sucks. Alright. But I realized also if I can suck it on at one more 155 Jewel, I could actually break 10k. Alright, so that's why I'm using that to get that 10k stats. Now, technically, you can go back to Demiurge. You do lose the 115 health. You can take out that socket if you want to put more accuracy for a school, for example. You can always put on like a high accuracy for, let's say, Myth, if you're being Fire, or Death and Life. You want to kind of boost those side towns or balance. You can also, I've seen, I don't know if I have one on me. I do, yes. You can also talk on one of these Shadow Pip. Kind of boost things. Again, I don't even know how much that would do. Only problem is I don't really want to mess with it because I have to shatter my previous stats flames, which kind of sucks. But again, you could just boost your accuracy more, so mantles don't matter. So it's kind of just what you want to worry about: more health, or do you want to have like higher accuracy, which technically doesn't really play a big factor till it's at your time. And then you do have the Stompy Bronto for the boost with the pet. The pet is still the OG Molly, right? And these are the stats for Molly. It is, for me, a god pet. It is a triple double. All right, triple double with Mighty and may cast Brace. All right. Now, a lot of people are still using like a triple damage pet with Mighty, but I've seen a lot of people that are playing in groups now go for basically 5 damage in Mighty, so you get an extra, I believe, 8 damage. All right, so technically you'd be adding 8 damage to these stats. You'd be at 212. All right, and then with the robe, I think the raid robe may add on, I think, like 3 more damage. So you can get technically 11 more damage for max fire if you're going that route. But you lose, again, 17 resist to 34. So do you want to give up, basically get 8 damage for the cost of 17 resist? For me personally, again, as a solo player, I did not want to make that choice. So I stick again with the OG Molly. All right, especially if Brace pops when I don't, because a lot of times I won't even use. What is it? What's the card called? What is it called? Frenzy. I won't use Frenzy a lot of time going solo. Alright? Mainly being that plus 30 damage to myself can sometimes be the end of me. Alright? So, of course, you can still try it. Use it right before to turn your hits, but I'm the time more comfortable just blading up. Or I go for something like some traps if it's kind of boss based on that has like Earthquake or Enfeebled cheats or Blade cheats. You know, or like a Wildfire is pretty nice too. We even go into for simple OG spell like Brimstone and spam Brimstone, stack on the traps. Okay, so there's definitely a lot of options you can go with that, but again, I'll stick with Molly for right now. And of course, you just saw the last part here. This is essentially the deck setup I use to get through this entire world. All right, this is my farm gear I have right now for Mana Core's Management, which I'm actually just finished. I have the last of my pins I've wanted. All right, it's literally for every mini fight. So you just frenzy or blade, dragon, you kill them every time. Or if it's a boss fight, you know, a lot of times I'll stick with this. If with a person, stick with it. If I'm by myself, I'll usually add some more blades, maybe 2 or 3 more blades, add an elemental blade, some sharpens, maybe a fire trap. But I like to add the single hit like I talked about earlier. I like to add a lot of times right now E3. E3 has been clutch a lot of times in these fights. Main being one is a solid dance's 10k base with the epic on there. So it's really nice. And again, the liability of having Raging Bull and Shadow Pips now, because they are being kind of nerfed, kind of is a detriment, especially you don't have a lot of time playing on your own before you can get killed. Right, so going for these non-Shadow Skull Pits, even something like Elephant's pretty good. Or for me, honestly, I've used a lot of like Brimstone. Brimstone with the epic is like 7.2 or 720 damage for a 2-pip spell, and you can just hit it again and again as long as you get that fire pip thing in there. All right. So again, it's up to you what you want to do. But with that, yeah, that's going to do it for today's video, and kind of getting to showcasing my stats I finished up with as I finished up Novus. And get ready for hopefully the next world that gets to 170, and yet again farming for more gear. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because it helps you support me and helps me make more videos for you to enjoy. Now with that, hope your week is blessed, and hope to see you again in the next video. And with that in mind, I'm out.